what we've really come to understand is it's the hand action that actually drives.
If you have good hands, you know what to do with your hands. So much works back into the body, and the golfer they're empowered when they know how to use their hands properly. Gentlemen,
that don't know this, like Peter's an amazing striker who still hits it out there pretty darn far. And when you watch those swings, you can see the organized manner with which he does it. And he does it because he is not a puller, meaning that he's not pulling the handle, which is an arm separator, and that's the last second, adjustment everybody has to make. And so, my business is a golf school every week. I get a group of people every week, lovely folks. They come to me, they're usually my age or older, 50 or older. And when we put these pieces in, give them some structure, teach them how to push, now they start realizing, oh, wait a second here, I've got a radius I can manage, not something that's all buckled up and bent and they can't get on the golf ball 2 times in a row. And the number one thing they want when they come see me, besides, obviously they want to hit it farther, but number one is consistency. And so to be consistent, we have to have a radius we can rely on. And to have a pushing feeling, imagine there's a pushing feeling. I can't put my fingertips any farther away from me at this point. So now, of course, there's going to be some bending and expanding of angles, but if you can have this radius work about you reliably, you can be a pretty decent golfer within your physicality. I always joke with people, I say, we talk about speed, and I say, do you know what my record is for the 100-meter dash? And before anybody can answer, I say it's 80 meters. I've almost made it. Okay, so everybody thinks of that as a time thing. Oh, Martin, you ran it in 11 seconds, 12 seconds, 15 seconds. Everybody's different, but everybody can have a great radius. Everybody can have great structure. They can understand how, getting your hands on the club nicely and the response of these radius-based pushes helps your body get in the right place and frankly be safe and not have back pain and be able to move and play golf 4 or 5 times a week in retirement and enjoy themselves and hit lots of great shots. Now, I hate to go on a rant here, but the fact is a lot of people, they don't know what to practice. They always say to me, hey, Martin, I don't know what to practice. And I'll say, okay, well, when you come to my school, we're going to give you a practice plan. Or if you don't come to my school, if you're from somewhere around the world and you want a plan, who's built a great plan? Peter. Peter has spent more darn time building a fantastic plan for you guys out there. Now, we got a lot of stuff to go over. We're not going to get to it all tonight, I'm afraid. I've got a family. We're busy. And this, frankly, we can't make these too long because people get a little too bored of them. But the fact is, if you are the guy that doesn't know what to do or the gal that doesn't know what to do when they go to the range, or you're in lockdown and you need a plan, he's developed a fantastic one. Sorry for the rant, Peter, but I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, well, all I have to do is email us and we'll put them in touch with a step-by-step, easy to follow practice plan and a path to better golf, as it were. So
perfect.
I'd like to share that transition with. I've got a handle here and I've got a swing guide. Now this product is really a good little reminder. I know you've got some too that are very similar to this. So if anyone wants to get in touch with Martin, he's got a product that works the same as this. And what I want to share with you is when you start back, the forward press, then the takeaway. There's no rolling of the club; it just goes away. And then as the swinging club hinges the wrist, what you get, the swinging club and the arms are designed to rotate. So this business of trying to keep the club face square, if you start to swing right, the swinging club will naturally rotate. Now, the transition, the golf swing is really not a backswing and a downswing. It's a continuous swing where you feel like there's a little loop to the transition. So when you go back, what starts the downswing is your attempt to make the thumbs go down. We call it releasing thumbs down, uncocking. And there's this bending of the right wrist, the bending of the right arm. And at that transition, the thumbs go down, the left wrist flattens, and the right wrist stays bent. And it's this thumbs down and releasing action. You're actually releasing the left hand and you're releasing the right arm. You're not releasing the right hand. So the correct educated hands will give you that transition and help you really get on the A to B line so that when you come down, let's move that out the road, the transition won't have you this way. Your hand action causes the club to come in on the A to B, on the inside and down and out. And there the ball goes. Oh, luckily hit the fence. Okay. Okay, back to you, gentlemen.
Yeah, let's move on. What's the next truth, Chris, that we can talk about?
Okay, just got one more question from Paul. What are your thoughts on the squat in transition? Doesn't it hurt the body or does it not?
The squat?
Yeah, the sitting.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the squat in transition?
Well, I would say that, there are slow motion movements that sometimes I will have a student say, okay, let's keep structure, let's keep our sense of push. Now, what's the sense of, this, I call it just kind of settling. I'm not a big fan of the word squat because I think, excessive things. I just think that this motion of movement has a sense of settling. But if a person, say, unfortunately, you only had one leg, I mean, would you really squat or, trail leg or lead leg? And I've seen some brilliant golfers play one-legged golf. And, rather than get into the minutia of a question like that, so when a golfer asks that question, makes me think, okay, that's fine, but do they have nice hands at address? Do they keep a great radius? Can they develop a backswing first? Because if they can do those things and they have a sense of going A to B, and A to B, is simply club head to the ball. It's a down and out motion that isn't trying to go straight. It's a sense of, like he'd said, like the more that like Sergio, that down and out tends to look like it's going a little bit more out to right field. Matthew Wolf's a similar look, and yet both of them prefer to hit fades. If I take somebody back before their question, then the squat and the ground force kind of stuff goes away. Because if they're using their hands the right way, a lot of that cleans up itself, rather than saying, oh, I need to use the ground, I need to squat, I need to do these things. It's a golf swing is 1 second long, okay? So I'm going to hit a 6-iron. I'm going to hit it with intent. I have to fly at 175. I've got the pins 185 away. So I'm going to hit a shot, pretty hard. Here I go. Watch really closely. Okay, so in that moment, right, I hit a pretty good shot, a little bit left. I had to fly at 175. It flew 179, so I was successful. I carried over the lake. If you think you have time to think about squatting, right, you've got a way better processor than me. And part of the problem is people try to be too slow. They can't be athletically responsive enough to play decent golf. What you just saw there, you might have said, oh, Martin, you got a pretty nice looking swing. It's pretty peaceful to watch. Well, athletically, doesn't feel peaceful to me. There's a lot of intent. I'm hitting that thing hard. Okay, I'm getting organized. I'm moving the club with intent with my hands. My body responds pretty darn well most of the time, gratefully. Right? So, a long answer to this question, but, the sense of a squat, good luck having time with that thought. Because usually if you organize yourself prior to that thought, the squat happens for you.
Exactly. That's a good point there, Martin, that the squat idea, it's an effect really of a good swing, and you see it maybe, but in 1 second you haven't got time, but it's quite often the person that straightens their right leg in the backswing, they have to come down. But if you kind of load yourself in the backswing, kind of corkscrew yourself into the ground, that feeling of winding yourself up and loading into the ground is actually happening in the backswing. And the right knee must, in that case, stay flexed. And that gives you that spring load. So you haven't got time to do any extras if you wind it up properly. So it's what you said there. The backswing really takes care of a lot of that the feeling of loading into the ground.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that you don't see this. I'm not saying that you don't see this behavior. There's no question. You know, and I'll give you one more example of that great question. I had a student come to the golf school last week. I have a golf ball delivery system that sends golf balls. Once you move the paddle out of the way, and you can maybe find some on my YouTube, there's a paddle. Once you move the paddle, it's programmed to send a ball between your feet at a certain speed. I set that speed at something that I feel is equitable to them progressing toward being a way better ball striker, which means that their backswing speed has to be serious enough so that they can get back to the golf ball, which isn't quite a tour pro, but it's way faster than a club golfer.
What we've really come to understand is it's the hand action
going
that
really
actually
slow,
drives
if you have
the life.
good
they have no reason to be athletically grounded. If they're pushing handle first, club head last, they create this whip effect that athletically gets them to that position you're talking about, which is, you know, the Sam Snead knee separated look. And honestly, if you go to my Instagram right now, Instagram Martin Chuck PGA, that's my Instagram, Martin Chuck PGA. Watch one of my latest posts. I think it's the current post. You'll see an amazing looking separation of knees, the squat you're talking about. And I didn't have to say a word to the fella about it. Not one word. And you'll see exactly what you're talking about, this look that was the question. And it's a response. It's not an action.
It's a reaction, exactly. Very good. Fantastic.
Okay.
So, what we've really come to understand is it's the hand action that actually drives
If you have good hands, you know what to do with your hands. So much works back into the body, and the golfer they're empowered when they know how to use their hands properly. Gentlemen, great to be with you. Peter, it's a pleasure, pal. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.